Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Brett. In my hands is one of the most anticipated releases for this week. It's X-Men #1, out in comic shops October 16th. We've got an early review copy from Marvel, and we want to dive in. Embargo's broken. I can actually talk about this. So I want to say is, I definitely do not have the most popular takes on House of X and Powers of X. My general thought is that Jonathan Hickman, in his writing, has morphed the characters into nationalists, ethno-nationalists, and I think with echoes of white supremacy, a little bit of Zionism, but I actually lean more towards the white supremacy as far as some of their stances and what they say. So, I know I'm going to get crapped on this video. I'm sure there's going to be some hate-filled comics, but I'm going to dive in anyways because it's my take, and it's my opinion, it's my review, and if you disagree with it, that's totally fine and it's legit. Alright, so the issue starts off with, for those who don't know, Powers of X and House of X, Powers of 10 and House of X, basically rewrote Marvel's mutant history through some interesting Deus Ex Machinas, I guess would be a great way of describing it. A little twist and reveal, in a way he's made the X-Men history more coherent and work, kind of. So, there is a new status quo for mutantdom. They now have a nation-state, Krakoa. There's a council that's leading it. Xavier and Magneto has brought in not just the X-Men and all mutants, but villains as well. Apocalypse sits on it, and Mystique sits on it, and Emma Frost, and the Black King, and it's an interesting concept. It's really a fascinating concept of what do you do and how far are you willing to go when extinction is on the table. And what are you willing to do to try to change history, future history? So, with all that being said, I'm not going to go into whether or not I agree or disagree with their moments, but just kind of, and their decisions, but generally thoughts on how I'm reading some of this stuff. We're already 2.5 minutes into this, and I've basically just given a whole please don't viscerate me online speech. Alright, so the comic opens up with battle. The X-Men in action. We can see the team here. Thing you might notice, it's a lot of Summers in that team. There is, of course, Jean Grey and Wolverine, but it's all people who, for the most part, whose last names are Summers. Havoc, Cyclops. I don't know what she's going by anymore. His father, Cable, Vulcan's in the back, Havoc. It's an interesting team, but the team that we see starting off in the battle is very different. We've got led by Cyclops, but it's Magneto and Polaris and Storm in one hell of a battle going off against the consortium that has been behind the creation of Mother Mold, who we might know from the whole lead-up series into this. And here's, I think, actually one of the things why I believe that this is a supremacist, a nice supremacist, white supremacist tinge to it, definitely nationalist, is here we got Storm, who states the suicide bombs and serving the greater good are always the last refuge of a conquered people, talking about the folks that are going after. Now, I'm reading that as humanity as a whole. It could be just about the bad guys, but I see it as a speech about humanity. It's also very un-Storm-like, since she seems to have in the past been a bit more trepidatious, more nervous about being looked at as a god. There's also a statement about Magneto, about how the people are beneath him. Again, a whole supremacy thing. He actually says they're beneath my feet when they touch the ground. They're no rabble. Should be beneath his feet, kind of in reference to the humans that they're going after. So there's definitely this continuation that has made me uneasy with this interpretation, though I find it a fascinating take on the X-Men, and it continues in this series. So Yeah, you can see I'm just really processing it all. I'm still processing it, and I'm still processing House of X and Powers of 10, because I really think Hickman has done really interesting things, some of which I clearly have a different interpretation than others. But what's interesting is from there, in this initial battle, it then actually turns into a very mundane comic. It is the Summers clan getting together. Vulcan is in there. Last I remember, wasn't he like in charge of Shi'ar Empire? Am I like missing something, or I'm misremembering things? A generally disliked character from what I remember is back front and center. The three Summers brothers. The next thing you're gonna know is Adam X walks by. And it's them just kind of like talking and getting back together. Corsair and Scott having conversations, and Jean being in there. And there's some great moments between Cable and some of the other characters, and Rachel and some of the other. Like it's really nice, quiet moments. And it's really, it kind of turns into a character study. It really goes off from this beginning of this action adventure into much more of a quieter moment where we really reflect on the characters. I think it's a little odd going from this big battle where, you know, your life is on the line, but really isn't, because they all come back now from being cloned when they die, to then being able to just like grill steaks. It's just a very odd transition, and I don't feel like we ever quite see Cyclops kind of decompress and switch off, though there's a really interesting moment between him and I think Polaris, where she asks about it's between him and Polaris, or him and Storm, I don't remember which, I think him and Polaris, where she asks him about his belief and how much he like really, really believes in it. Yeah, it's him and Polaris. We also get some follow-up on the whole space station that's around the sun, and the organization behind Mother Mold. It's all really interesting, building off of everything. It's not quite the action-packed comic. We still don't really know who the main villain is, other than the villains we've already seen. It's not like they've got rogue mutants they have to go after anymore, like the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or anything like that. You know, bringing everyone in really kind of resets that status quo and leaves into the open. Is like, who the hell these folks are going to fight now? So yeah, it's an interesting comic. Part of it reinforces kind of the way I'm reading what writer Jonathan Hickman's doing. But the rest of it is fairly mundane and boring. It's a character study. It feels like it's a David Mamet plane to some extent. The art's by Leinal Francis Yu. Gerry Alanguilan is the inker. Sonny Go is the colorist. Clayton Cowles the letterer. Tom Muller still does the design. That's pretty cool. And Hughes is a fairly talented artist. Here, his stuff is good. There is some like hit and misses in there. I don't remember. Haven't marked down the panels, but there's some like where eyes are like a little off, characters feel a little off. But like generally, there's some really cool stuff here. Like I love this scene, the color and kind of the faded back. I mean, it's just really, really great work overall. But it's, you know, it's not too shocking. Like this is part of the flagship of the X-Men relaunch, so it's not really surprising that it's got a top-notch artistic team on there. They've really kind of thought a lot through, just like the original two miniseries going into this. That's a lot to say a little. So my general thoughts is I'm still a little mixed on all this. I have some trepidation with the undertones that I'm seeing as far as the new X-Men status quo. If you don't agree with me in my interpretation of that, it's totally fine. It's my interpretation of it. But, you know, it's a complicated read, and I think that's actually really good. Entertainment, whether that's movie, comics, books, television, whatever, that gets you to reflect and really think about deeper themes and deeper directions is a good thing. So overall, like, I'm happy with the overall direction of the X-Men. I'm a little nervous about what is being shown or depicted, and I actually think some of the characterizations are a little off. But we know that the X history has been kind of muddled in this current timeline, so we might be getting different interpretations of these characters because of that. So as I said, it's out in comic shops this Wednesday. I know a lot of places are doing midnight sales. and midnight releases. Go check it out. It'll be out digitally in physical comic shops. If you don't know if you have a shop near you, we've got a link beneath this video. You can put in your zip code, tell the shops near you. No shop, no problem. We do have some affiliate links. There are affiliate links, so we do get a small percentage of that. By doing that, you help support our site, so thanks so much. But really, you should go support your comic shops. They are the bread and butter, the backbone of the comic industry, really needed. And speaking of support, I want to thank Marvel hooking us up with this review copy. We appreciate that as well, and thank you for watching. Now, if you're into comics, if you're into Marvel, if you're into the X-Men, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics, and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.